Hello, welcome in. Today is February 17th, 2024, and today is day 38 of 100 days, 100 ways, trails taken. Today we are still on our Where Have You Been? Except we've moved from education onto occupation. So, occupations. Where was your first job? And how old were you? Okay then, so occupations. Where was your first job and how old were you? Well, my first job was an unpaid job, so I don't know if it could actually be considered a job, except later on I went and was doing it and getting paid. So I think it's still classed as a job even though I didn't get paid, which of course was babysitting. I was the eldest, I am the eldest, and two younger sisters who I minded quite a bit, quite fiercely also. I always wanted to protect them and make sure, some bad things that happened to me wouldn't happen to them. I took that very seriously. Then also, I started to get paid for babysitting the neighborhood children. So I was kind of classified as the babysitter, which I sometimes don't think is so cool. But that's okay. I went on to be a nanny, a little bit like a nanny. I would, show up first thing in the morning, generally before the sun came up, help the people with their little person or people, depending how many children they had, so that they could get out the door to work. And it was very rewarding actually. And I still, am friends with the parents and have seen the children grow up, which is very interesting because they're sort of like your own children. When you're little, you have responsibility for these other little people. And it's amazing. It's so great to see them all have turned out. They're excellent people as far as I know. So I did something right. I didn't screw anybody up. So then my first real job that wasn't babysitting was with the Fraser Valley Record newspaper in Mission, British Columbia. And I was delivering them. So I was the newspaper girl, and I would have to go around and go to everybody's houses and take their weeklies and take their flyers on the weekends. And I met a lot of, it was in my neighborhood, so I got to meet a lot of people that lived around me, which also made me feel safe. You knock on somebody's door, if they're a little off or not, or you don't really feel like going back to that house or whatever. So you really get to know your neighborhood, and I did, and I still I'm connected to a lot of those people. And a lot of them, were households where children that I went to school with, they lived. So yeah, having that is kind of nice too, right? Let me see. Oh yes, this should be on my trigger list. My very first collection, I went out and collected my money from my paper route. My mom drove me down to the newspaper, the actual building, the business, and somehow between getting in the car and getting into the actual building, I lost my collection money. So that meant it was $60, and that's a lot back then. I was in the 4th grade. So how old was I in the 4th grade? Like 10, 11, around there. And yeah, I lost it. I dropped it, I guess, when I got out of the car and somebody picked it up. So that also made me become very honest, I guess, because I knew how horrible that felt to lose that money, because I still had to make it up. I still had to pay the newspaper, and I didn't get paid for that particular thing, right? So one heck of a lesson to start. What was I going to say about that? Now I totally forgot. I lost my train of thought. Oh, about being honest. So I knew how horrible that felt. So anytime I've ever found money, I would I've found enough money to have taken it to the police department. I've taken people's wallets there. Find money on the street. You try and look around. Who does this belong to? Or secondary, who actually needs this more than myself? So and working at the grocery store, which I did, later in my life. I worked there for about 15 years. And, if anybody ever gave me too much money, take it back. It's not mine, it's not honest, and it doesn't make me feel good. So yeah, it was a good lesson, even though it was a little bit costly for a young person. Let's see, what else? Oh, I gave that position up so I could go start playing soccer on a team, which was really awesome. I played soccer from the 6th grade, I believe is when we first had a team actually form in Mission for girls. And my then best friend, her father was I was going to call him the principal. No, the president of the soccer association. And we begged him and pleaded him to please get us some kind of league going because we wanted to play too. My friend's brother played, and we just wanted to join in. They were having, excuse me, they were having a lot of fun, and we wanted to have fun also. So we did that, and I played right up until, excuse me, right up until, I guess, the end of the season when I was 16, and actually got invited to a U17 team. And because nobody else from my team was going, I chose not to go. So that's a little bit of a regret that I have. But who knows? Maybe I would end up, probably not quite as fantastic as Christine Sinclair. But I probably would have really enjoyed it. I'm a competitive person, and I loved sports, and I still like sports. I still like watching sports. I don't participate in too many of them anymore. So I gave up my first paying job so that I could go on and play soccer. So, and then actually my next, real job, I guess, was working at McDonald's, and that seems to be a very popular choice. Maybe not so much anymore, as we know about the health implications and things about fast food and all that kind of stuff. But learning, how to handle money and customers and in a fast pace and, customer service. And I was the queen of the drive-thru. I was really good at it, actually. I really liked it. I loved seeing the same people every morning. And, sometimes you would just see their car drive up and you would know basically what they would order. Sometimes you could, we were awesome at it back then too. So we'd have everything at the window by the time they got there. I hope it's still a great place to work. I did learn a lot there. And I also did learn about the secret ingredient in the apple pies that weren't apples. It was actually listed right on the box. Turnips. I don't even know if they still do that. But back then it was like a filler. I guess turnips take over the flavor of the things that they're with. These little sessions we have go off in weird directions. I always think of the strangest things while I'm doing these questions with you guys. And then, of course, I left McDonald's so that I could go to makeup artistry school in Vancouver, which I actually ended up not doing anything with. Just one of those things that I needed to have checked off, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not doing that now. I'm doing other things, right? And actually I had so many different jobs, like everything, all sorts of different, like not in construction, but I worked for a Cablevision company and, used to go up on the outside of buildings, the high rises, skyscrapers in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver. I started off doing 3-story buildings and, schlepping my own 30-foot ladder. That was not easy. And then went out and worked on the big buildings. And yeah, went on a swing stage on the outside. You know, it's kind of like one of those window washer bucket things that you stand in. You have a control to make it go up and down. The highest I went on the outside of the building was 15 floors, and that made me want to end that job. After that, I got to work on the inside, doing the installations from the inside, so that was a little better. But still, I didn't stay with that job. The traffic was terrible. You know what it's like when it's, I don't know if you know what it's like. People that live there know what it's like when the weather's bad, especially when it snows. And it was a long way from home at that time. So yeah, things were a little bit strange there also, working with a bunch of men that I didn't know, and it's all good. I wish I knew then what I know now. So this is part of growing and knowing, right? Anyways, I guess that's probably it for today. Tomorrow again, I think it is still about occupations. Let me look. I know we're still on the same where have you been trail marker. Yes, still about occupations. So we have a couple more days of that, and then we'll still be doing where have you been, but a different trail marker, or a different, sorry, everything's falling over. A different subheading, like education, occupation, then we get a new subheading. I'm not going to tell you what that is yet. If you haven't downloaded your own workbook, you'll just have to wait and get a surprise. Anyways, until tomorrow for day 39, I guess this is it. And until then, be well.